Hello future tech leaders, I am Sindhuja. Based on my own experience, I know that learning the right skills can shape our future. What if I say learning was as thrilled as the tech world itself? There we go. A cloud foundation, that's exactly what you will experience. From day one, you will be immersed in the interactive sessions and expert-led courses that covers most of the widely used technologies in the zone of data science to cloud computing, which brings more light to the life of a techie. I'm so excited to help you and unlock the true potential of a technology. Well, then why to wait? Let's see what it unfolds.
This will be a pretty quick session. So we have some things and I'm sure you guys have some questions even so. I received that you want the visualization thing to be done once again. But before that, about where we had left yesterday with insights. So whoever is doing the inside view, you will know that you have. Your insights somewhere like this in a sheet, right? So if this is your sheet, you know that. What are the things that you need as a dimension? How do you want to classify your sheet? So it's a pretty simple thing that we do. So suppose it's a brand audience indication, brandedness, start date and end date, because the start date and end date is required. Because if you want to toggle your dates, if you want to toggle your dates and you want your insights to change. So you want start dates, end dates. Then comes like channel tactic, it says it. How do you want to filter your data? You know it better. And alongside you have your insights, right? Let me know. If in case something is not clear, then I'll take it. And always remember that whatever rows you have, and this I'm showing in an Excel, it can be a Google Sheet. The process remains the same. So it has to have a number. Why? Because any data set you map, you need to have a metric. So metric is not present in an insights data sheet. But what you can do is you can define a unique number for yourself for the cells that has data, and that will act as a thing. Next, what we do is we do nothing, but we concat the data. We do a concatenation of all the things that are presented here, so that everything is concatenated. Just that. Apart from the optimized, apart from the column which has the insights, you basically go ahead and concat everything. Why do we concat? Just to make sure that everything is unique for me. And how will it be unique? Because if at all there is any duplications in the other columns, we have defined a unique metric. So we have this unique number. So this unique number basically acts as making the columns unique. And basically what you do is you go ahead and create a key using the by concatenating stuffs. Till now it is fine. The same thing happens like whenever you have anything by whatever things you want to have as filters, do concatenate and create a key. So that there is a key which acts as a key there as well to showcase your this thing. The insights that you have for yourself. So basically I have done nothing, but I have just put the connect and mix And I have connected this sheet which I had saved and just inserted it into Datorama. So what have I done? The start date has is when. Oh, the first thing is it may recognize the data as an ads data set. So you know how to switch your data streams from here. So you need to go ahead and you have to choose generic. Why? Because this is not an ads data set. So you need to choose whatever is not ads. You need to choose a generic data stream. Once you have chosen it, so generic data stream has the main entity as main generic entity key. Excuse me. Main generic entity key. I have defined the insight name, but you can avoid that as well. So if you want to have an insight name, you can have it. I just kept it to show that how a generic insight name looks like. So you can very well avoid as well. And then all the other filters that you want to filter your insights with becomes the attribute of the main entity. So everything becomes the attribute of the main entity key, and just that. The unique number becomes the generic metric one. So this is generic metric. So here I have mapped everything just to show you that main generic entity attributes are there which you can map your stuffs. But all this conc and end date, these are not needed even. So whatever is needed, you can just map that to your data. And you have the unique number over here, which basically is mapped to generic metric. Okay. So once you have done this and saved it, so what happens? What you need to declare your things are optimization highlights, which I had written the insights in. Correct. So once you go over to Datorama, what you do is you basically take a rich text box. How to take a rich text box? You go to this plus sign and you go over here to rich text. Okay, once you take a rich text, it looks like this, and in edit you can go and write. Okay, so over here as well. What we have done is we have taken it. We have edited the rich text box and we have taken in a query in which we have declared this attribute that we have connected. Okay, the optimization highlights that come in main generic entity attribute 6. You can just go ahead and put it there. And main generic entity attribute 9. Because we had 2 columns of insights. What file is this? This is the one. Okay, so as we had seen, there were 2 sets of insights that were there. In one column we have some, in the other column we have some. So we mapped both the columns in Datorama, and this not only helps us to have accommodate multiple insights, but also it helps us in segregating the sentences as well. So I guess there is a character limit of 300 or something per line or something. Some kind of a limitation is there. I am not remembering the exact number, but there is a limitation. You know, per line there is per sentence, there's a character limit that comes in. And this is a Datorama issue and not a JavaScript issue. So what you can do is, if your sentence is long, you can just declare it. This is my Jugat process. But if you want to avoid this process and you have any other process, you can feel free and you can go ahead with it. So what I do is I divide my columns into two, and also in this case that is not done. But what we have is two columns that are mapped, and both these columns are mapped as generic and generic attribute 6 and 9. And when I have gone over here, what I have done is I have declared 6 and 9 as the queries in over here. When you do that, what happens is the text come up, and we have used a bullet in our query so that data comes in bullets, and now it is. And now what you do is you create filters. You can add filters, like you can go over here and you can choose a filter for yourself. So there is this filter widget, and you can go over there and you can, choose anything. Say suppose you can choose a brand, and you can then apply it back to this. Anyways, once you can choose this brand, and always, widget can be applied too. So suppose you chose over their brand, and then what you do is you apply it to specific widgets. So once you think that you want to filter this widget, there is this widget title that comes up over here. It is coming as no title, or over here it is coming as insights. So what you can do is you can go to a filter widget, choose brand as your column which you want to, want to have as filtered over. Here I have many brands, and what you do is you go to specific widgets and you basically see there is insights that. So this list basically shows the list of all the widgets that are there. So from there you can just choose one, choose insights which you want to filter as part of your. I want this to be filtered, or I want this to be filtered. This widget name can be taken, and you can go ahead and in the filter where there is applied to specific widgets, you get the list. You just check it off there. So once you do that, what happens is you basically get to select your brand. Once you select your brand, what happens is brand specific insights comes in. And now from here, suppose you have some other thing that you want to filter. Next, what you can do is you can go over there and select a TTC maybe. So what happens is things get filtered accordingly. Okay, again, if you want to make further filtration happens, so on and so forth. So things that you have as part of column, and you define it here and make them as filters and apply to your widget. Things start working according to rich text. What you need to do is you need to go to JSA like JavaScript, and you have to define it there. So you want it to be dynamic, right? So if tomorrow B has 1, 2, 2, 3, you want creative. B has recorded the highest impression. You want a dynamic, right? Okay, got it. No, that is not possible in rich text. Let me share my screen. Okay, yeah, do try with. When you want that to happen, do try with JavaScript codes, which will allow you to do it more rich text, which it is very, it is very primary. And you see my screen now, right? Yes, okay. So yeah, I was talking about this data set, which I have already fed it in Datorama. And pretty simple stuff. so that we do not have a mapping and we do not have to do a mapping, and we call it as total connect for data stream in our Datorama. Okay, so this is where we are. These are called pages. This basically is called a data canvas. This is basically your collection, and in collection you have multiple pages. You see this cloud with a strike. So the strike like cloud basically means that this dashboard is not published. When we said not published, that does mean that it is still with your login. And when you go ahead and publish it, see there is publish and unpublish, and you publish it. What happens is people who have access in this workspace, everyone can see this dashboard. Okay. Now there are options to publish and then restrict things, but that is not possible in this thing. But I will share your content again with today's stack, which will be having the visualization PDF. So there you went. Whatever access you have for yourself, you can just go, and what I will do is I will share it with you and you can look at. It is pretty simple stuff. So whatever, we will come to publish and publish. But then first thing is, while creating a dashboard, first thing you need to keep in mind is just adjust your dates accordingly. Okay, so for my file, I know that I have 1818 data in it. So what I will do is I will just take Jan 1 2018 and I will do one ongoing. So basically what it does now is from Jan 1 2018, it takes data till yesterday. This is the first thing that we do. Now comes your part where you want to play around. So these are your graphs, these are your interactive filters, and these are the elements that you can add. So let's look at graphs. So this is a bar chart, whereby this is a blank bar chart that comes up when you select a widget. What you need to do is you need to add data to it. So you see there is measurements and dimensions. So what you do is you add data over here. So your measurements basically, okay, let's refer to this file. So what are my measurements? Impression, text and media cost, right? So I want to take impressions now. So what I will do is I will choose impressions, and what I will do is I will choose campaign category. Okay, this gives me data. Now is it specific to that workspace? No, so what I will do is I will apply a filter over here. So once I have this defined, campaign, category and impression may come in various data sets across our workspace, right? So this basically throws up everything. So what we do is we go to filters. There is something called add filter. Go to add filters. Over here, just type data stream and you will see data stream coming up. So over here you have a list of equals, not equals. From here, just go and select your required data stream that you have. Okay, we call the data stream as total connect 4. So I will just select total connect 4 over here and close it. Cool. So now we have data specific to the data stream total connect 4 in our dashboard, in our widgets or in our dashboard. Okay, impression is coming in blue. If you want to change your color of your chart, just go to and click over impressions. You see the color over here. You can go over here and choose your required color that you want to. Okay, cool. What you can do is you can choose how to select over here as well. over here as well. Impression is a number, so you want to have the number. Precision, if you want to have any form of precision to be added, you can add it to your measurement. Okay, so that's your bar graph ready. Now what else we can do with it? We can go to design and we can say, suppose display has fixed, sticky and float. These are possible. These are very much you have. If you have worked with Tableau also, you know that what is a float and what is a static float basically can be fitted anywhere. Like if I put it here, if I put it here, if I put it here anywhere you put it, it basically will go and sit over there. But if you are putting it as fixed, it will take a fixed space. Definitely you can move it, but you know it moves with alignment with the other dashboards that I create. So let me just duplicate this. So now if I have two things and if I have float, if I select float. So what happens is, see, I can take this floating chart and I can put over this chart as well, right? But if I have two charts which are in static or fixed, if I move, this guy moves around, never can I overlap this chart. So basically each chart has its own placeholder. Whenever it is fixed. And what is sticky? When I choose sticky and if I scroll, basically if I scroll down, what will happen is sticky means it stays. It's basically fixing your column in Excel whereby first row gets fixed and whenever you scroll it stays. So sticky means this. However you scroll, this widget stays up. So to show you whatever, like this is one of the primary widgets maybe that you want to have. Generally we use fixed. Okay. What else do we have over here? We have a background in a chart. If you want to have a background image or something, you can go ahead. Here we have some stock photos. You can go and choose one of the stock photos, maybe so that which you think looks good. Let me select this and let's see how it looks. Okay, pretty cool stuff. So you can add this. It has a background and you can customize your chart. What else do we have? We have in background as well. We have something called opacity, which basically is nothing but plays around with the opacity of the background color. So corner radius. So you see the radius is to be like this. And once you define the radius, you see its rounded edges now. So on and so forth. So these are pretty self-explanatory stuffs that you have. Okay, fonts. What you can do is, this is your header font. So if you want your header to be bold, to be having a smaller size or a larger size like this, you can go ahead and you can do it. The question not related to this one, related to the graph itself. Can we add a trend line or a forecasting graph? We can write with that is done. Sure, that is done. That can be done. Yes, let me see. My concern is like how much data invalid like past. How much data invalid 30 days or 60 days? Is there any restriction for that? I didn't get you. What kind of date? What day do you want? What like forecasting will depends upon the historical data. Right, forecasting. Yes, it will depend on historical data. So how much day limitation will be? Like 30 days or 60 days? Like that? No, last 90 days will be there with you, right? 90 days data, right? Yeah, last 90 days there with you and forecasting will be there. Trend line will be there. Both will be there, right? So that's so you are. You are talking of the lines that we have for which we can do, right? Yeah. Over here, I need to explore much on the if there is something like a trend line or something that we can do here. We can do dual charts though, but when we have dual things, we can do a dual chart. But no, the things like what you are asking as a forecasting line, like predictive analysis. Got it? Got it. So if you want to do that, you need to take your custom widgets into consideration, not the out of the box. There is nothing. Sorry, out of like if you have a line chart, and in the line chart itself, if you want to add future dates like forecasting dates, then you don't have the particular option to like click that and add it. You have to have a custom widget for that. Yes, all these things that you want to do as a custom. You have to bring a custom widget and work on JavaScript. Native is only these. Many are natives. Native charts are only like if you are someone who is enthusiastic about it. Native chart is very less in Datorama if you talk of like all the charts you get. But then what you are talking of is an advanced chart. Advanced charts we cannot make in it. It's very easy to create in Tableau. I know it is very easy to create in Tableau, but in Datorama is pretty limited, so custom chart or itself. You are saying 90 days will be the limitation of a customer. Custom, there is no limitations. Custom, like sky is your limit. So in custom you can know, but historical data will still be 90 days only. Okay, yeah, and one more thing is that if it's 90 days, it will be 3 months. Data, right? So if one of them, like the center month, is missing, and if you have start month and last month data is there and 1 month that is missing, will it consider correct forecasting or it will be before? No, that will be wrong, because if the data is not there, then how will it happen? The last 3 months. Sorry, I am saying like, for example, hello, no, go ahead. I am saying like, for example, if we have impressions for 3 months and in the same data, if we have clicks for only 2 months. And if we apply forecasting for that kind of widget, the impression will show correctly because it has 3 months data to calculate. For that one, the clicks will be calculating wrong, right? Clicks will definitely be wrong, but see in predictive analysis, if you are doing, this is a topic of discussion, predict analysis. If you are doing, then what will be your hypothesis? Are you taking to both the measurements as your hypothesis, or like what you want to achieve? Yeah, both the measures like impression and achieve. Like what do you want to predict? Like I'm just asking, like what is that hypothesis you are taking when you want to? And of course, yes, if you are taking 3 months data, then no month can be wrong, or else your entire forecasting model goes for a toss. Okay, and also, are you doing for like what tool are you using if you are doing forecasting now? Using right now, we are not using right there, but past I have used sizes. Okay, we have different types of forecasting options, right? Like I was going to that, like if you are a Python guy, then that is the best way to do, and not a buy tool like you don't use. Yeah, you have that kind of options to add Python and JavaScript to come back, right, cool. But over here we have some limitations because it's Salesforce. So Salesforce always comes up with limitations. And now Tableau is also a part of Salesforce. So God forbid, like the limitations that are coming up in Tableau. They don't increase because Tableau is a pretty cool tool to do things like what you mentioned, whereby we can do a background data churning in Python and then applying Tableau, whereas in Salesforce we have to go through different walls we need to cross to reach our target. Anyways, let's see. Okay, so that's clear, right? Whatever options we have in over here, and see the next set of options that you have. To please drill down yourself, please look yourself like you know what are there. There is this horizontal chart and vertical chart, and then you have your line charts, right? Okay, now comes one of the widgets that was talked of. Okay, let me show you this as well. There is something called a stack status bar, right? So, status bar looks like this. In a status bar, you can have, like it comes as a blank again. Add date to it, and when you add data, it comes like in. Let's say, suppose impressions is what I choose, because I've chosen impressions over here. Okay, so this is my impression. Let me not name it, but know that this is impressions. Okay, and if you want to, again, you can customize this as well with whatever you want to do for yourself. Go to background, do all the things. This is a cool stuff, right? Let me choose something else. Oh, it looks horrible. So anyways. So what we will do is this the impression numbers that are coming up. But again, this is not the impression numbers. We need to put a filter and then data stream, and from here we need to choose the data stream. So always choose the right data stream in order to get the right amount. Cool. Okay, so now you can add one more thing over here to the status bar, whereby you can choose if you want to see a visual of how your impressions have paced. So if you want to see something like that, you can add a day dimension to it. And what it does is, it shows you the data flow, like how the data has gone over in the days, and you can not only days, but you can have, month, week, etc. Whereby you know that the widget shows the pacing of the impressions throughout, and you can hover about this, and you can see per date how much of impressions are you receiving and how the graph progresses. So here is a small visual as well, along with the status. Okay, and and in this one also you can go and customize yourself. Now comes something that we had, something which we had discussed yesterday, which was called as switch widgets. So switch widget is another very simple thing which is here to which is here to help us. So if we are going with the switch widget, what happens is switch widget is there too. Okay, so these are the graphs which you can choose for yourself. Okay, let me, before going to interactive, yesterday there was another question about goals, correct? So goals, you can create goals and then come to a goals widget. How do you create goals? You create goals from analyze and act, and you go to list. So here you have goals, right? So what do? Is you create a goal for yourself. Say suppose this goal, okay. So what do is you name the goal, and okay, if you want, I can just show you. So that's a new goal that you create. Hey, you see the Datorama screen only, right? Yes, yes, okay. I sometimes worry with Zoom. This has become a trauma for me. Okay, with goals. We have the goals list. You can add new over here. You can add your goal name as clicks. Okay, your measurement is clicks. Measurement is summable and I know my data is there for 2018, right? So what I'll do is maybe let me choose the data. Let me once look at the data. This is my data, so I have March, April, May. So let me choose March and April. So so from 1st March to 30th April and I can choose my goals. So what do we mean by goal range? That is if Z to 85%, then my goal is as at red. If it is from 79 to 130%, if it is at yellow and then beyond that it is at green. Okay, so over here you do that and then what you do is you define your goal over here. So we have chosen goal. Type is at least okay. At least you can put any number for yourself. I'm not sure what is the number over here for clicks book, but maybe it's very less. So let me put it as maybe, I don't know if clicks will return anything with me. But yeah, that is dependent on what goal you want to achieve for yourself. This is a historical data, so I need to see and define on the goal. Say, suppose I'll put it as 20, okay? And then what you do is you save it off. Cool. Now, when you look into it, it's, oh shit, this is a crazy person. Okay, let's save it off. And then what you can do is, this is how your goal is reciprocating. Now you go to your visualization. Yeah, where is the visualization? Oh, did we go out of it? Okay. So now you have so understood how we define goals. Any problem? Got that? Great. Now what do you come to your goals widget? Okay, now you come to your why is it not going? This is not what. This was a float or something. Oh yes, see, I see you right. This is sticky, basically stays up in whatever mode. This will stay as is. If you have thousands of widgets as well, this will stay on top because it is sticky. Okay, so let me put these two over here. Let me move with the goals widget. So over here in the goals widget, you go to your data and what you do is now you have saved your goal, right? The goal name is clicks. So when you go to clicks, it shows up 1390. You can filter it. You can, so it will inherit your page filters. And what is a page filter? The page filter is basically this whereby you can add a filter. Let me add a filter. So I had put the goal as 20 and it has reached 103. So in that period. So it is 15% of it has achieved it. So if 20 was my goal and 103 is received, we get this percentage which is shown in the goals. Now you can go ahead and edit your goals whereby if you want to increase your, now that you know that you have to increase your, we can go ahead and increase the goal from 22. Maybe 100. Okay, when I do 100. And go to visualize. Now see, it is 100 is my goal and I have done 103. So it's at 103% in the goals widget. Clear. So that's how we configure our goals widget, and goals widget inherits page filters. Page filter is basically nothing but this filter that you have over here. Okay. Now what else widget do you want to see? We have the various widgets that you can explore for yourself and you can look at it. Let's not spend more time in this and let's look at the interactive filters. Correct. So interactive filters basically have all the switch dimensions and filters and dates. What is a filter? We saw filters, right? That if I choose a filter over here and over here if I add the filter, so this is a filter where you can add data. So you click on this, you need to add data to your widget. You go and add campaign category. Okay, filter it by data stream. I'll just go to the next form and you have all the campaign category filters in here. So if you want to say, suppose seismic is my campaign that I choose, so I can see seismic. So this guy also is reciprocating accordingly that for seismic the goal was for 100. We have received 59 clicks. Okay, so that's how a filter widget works. Next online is a date widget which basically is nothing, but you can choose your dates. So if I put day, you can go and choose your day and you can customize that as well as whatever you want to like. If you want to drop down a list, a search box, and if you want to select single dates or multiple dates together. Okay, let me keep my date widget over here. Let me make it small. Let me make this small just for. Okay, I'll just remove this because this is doing no good. Okay, so that's how you do filtration. That's how you can select your dates. Coming to the next, that is switch widgets. So this is a switch dimension. This is a switch dimension that I choose, and in my dimension, let me choose. So switch dimension, when I say, well, basically, this is a widget which can accommodate multiple dimensions, right? So again, you choose a switch dimension widget, add what we have, campaign category. All right, we have campaign category and let me add campaign name to it as well. Yeah, so, and let's do this thing. Apply to the specific widgets. So let me apply this to the status bar and the bars. Okay, these two. So what happens is, this was showing me my impressions correct. Now let me choose campaign name over here. So now you see that campaign categories have changed from camp. See the impression is still there because I've not changed the measurement. But in the same measurement, I can see 2 dimensions. I can see campaign. Okay, switch dimensions. Also, you can customize. You can go to design and you can select multiple or single. You can choose single. Okay, so see now it is showing data by campaign name. Now I go and change it to campaign category. So now it shows impressions by campaign category. Okay, clear? Now let us see what is a switch measurement. Okay, so where did it go? Okay, this is here. So switch measurement, again, as the name suggests, it will have. It can have multiple measurements in it. So impressions. Clicks and media cost. Okay, I've chosen 3 measurements in my switch measurement. Anyways, let it be in the view so that we understand what is happening. Okay, now we have campaign category. So what we need to do is we need to go and this is what we need to do apply to the specific widget. So it applies to the specific widgets. Now we can toggle around with the charts and we can see what is happening. So if I choose now what these charts are showing, this is showing impressions. And this is showing impressions with respect to campaign category, correct? Now I want to see clicks. So now it is showing clicks with respect to campaign category and now you want to see clicks with respect to campaign names. So you can go and choose clicks and you will see the clicks with respect to campaign names. Now again go back to campaign category. And now I want to see all again in switch measurements as well. What I will do is a single selection. So now I will do. So you see, this shows you the campaign category level media cost and this also changes and shows you the media cost. That is that the total media cost basically is showing up. Understood how switch dimensions and measurements work? Yes, perfect. Okay, so that's how the switch filters work and this is nothing but this is the JavaScript area whereby you can go and select whatever you want to. You have rich text. We saw rich text in Insights. This is basically a custom widget that I'm talking of. You can go and you can choose something and then from here this is your JavaScript pane, this is your 8mil, this is your CS and this arrow below basically lets you declare your libraries whereby you go and declare your libraries over here and you write your codes in this. So that's how the custom widgets work. I guess that's it from me now. Any questions that you have from visualization or else I'll move to the next topic. All good, right? Okay, so media cost center. What I'll do is media for center. I'll provide you with like the required documents in the stack today. So tomorrow, if you are working on any sort of planned versus actuals, the media cost center is now known as media activation center. So tomorrow, if you're working on planned versus actual, this will be of need. What does media cost do? Media cost center basically helps me compare my planned costs that come in the form of you. So if anyone has worked in the planning team, earlier the digital planning team of the account planning team, you will know that there's a media plan that comes up. So you see the data and impressions and all these things. But just think, just take 2-3 steps back and you know that one advertiser basically has a media plan, right? So what is a media plan? A media plan is how I want to spend my money across what sources in these 3 years or 1 year or this current year or 2 years. So that's a media plan, right? And a media plan has some important aspects. Those are start date, end date, what is the cost type, what is the rate, and what is my budget. Okay, so if it's a SICK, what is the rate at which I want to run, what is my budget and when, what is my start date and end date, correct. If it's a CPM, what is the rate at which I want and what is the rate at which I want my cost per CPM to happen and what is my budget. These are the things that comes as planned, okay, and it gets approved in the form of an EO. What is an EO? It's an insertion order. So an insertion order is basically passed from the account side before we get all these data sources and stuff. Before we come into this scenario, an EO is passed and an EO is given off to the account teams, basically release the EO, the client releases, the EO comes to the account team and account team sets a media plan in which they sanction these numbers. Now, often what happens is there is a clear disconnect between what the media plan was and how it got delivered in my various platforms. Say, suppose Facebook has some delivered data. Google has some delivered data, Twitter has some delivered data, and aligning it to the media plan, how it was planned earlier, becomes difficult for us. So what you need to do is you face a difficulty in how did I plan, what did I plan, and what did I receive. And it also becomes very, very problematic when we have to create charts showing the plan versus actuals, and it becomes very dark for us to know because we are not quite sure, right, what is my plan and how did my actuals perform and stuff. So it becomes really problematic for us to create any sort of chart because we are not sure about anything. So ideally, what happens is previously how it used to happen is people used to manually check the delivery data and the media plan, and they used to manually figure out how this media plan got delivered, right. So that was pure manual. This was pure manual stuff that used to happen, and you manually cross-match your data. But then thanks to Media Cost Center, what happens is this entire churning that happens in an automated manner, and the recalculated cost is something that it delivers out. What is the recalculated cost? It's nothing but comparing with the media plan cost and the delivery cost and coming up with the recalculated cost, which basically tells at what actual price did we get the delivered and delivered data from the various sources. So it doesn't always go according to the plan, but then it doesn't go always very high differences. Also doesn't happen in the data. So what happens is we need to have a recalculated cost to understand what was that cost at which things got delivered. So the media plan and the delivery data is churned in media cost center. And when we talk of the plan data, it is usually a Prisma data or a media tools data. Prisma as a tool, if you have used, we have Prisma as a tool to keep all our media plans and plan data and delivery data. Basically, is my platform level data correct? Facebook or display or Twitter? Whatever. So there comes my recalculated cost from media cost center, which tells me what is my delivered cost. So media plan, whatever my plan was, and whatever got delivered as OCAP cost or the recalculated cost basically is connected by means of this mediator called yo. So yo is basically an insertion order or an insertion key which can connect to at least 41 dimensions and metrics and 60 custom attributes. That does mean that in an yo key or in an yo you can be CO if CO name, your cost, your start date, end date, capped cost margin rate. So capped cost margin rate, these are measurements and name and all these key name. These are basically dimensions. So basically, it can have 41 dimensions and metrics and 60 custom attributes attached to a single key which comes as an advantage. Because you can compare it to those many dimensions and metrics in your media planning. If present, it's not never that it has to be present, but this is the maximum limit. So what are the things that are compared? Start and end dates, because starts and end dates will tell us what is the period for which we are. We want to see the plan versus actuals data. What is the cost? Type CPC, CPV, etc. CPM, what is the rate? What was the planned rate and what is the actual rate at which it got delivered, so that we get the recalculated cost. What is the cap cost, or what was the total budget for us, and how much did the yo cap during the delivery, and what is the margin? Okay, these are the yo attributes which are needed to calculate or which we have to see while we are doing media cost center. So rather than individual calculations, the entire media plan can be put into the media cost center and it does its own automated calculation, and we have all the recalculated costs per yo. Okay, so in the media plan file, if you have settled all your media plans and stuff, and if you just map it according to the years in which things got delivered, what we can do is we can have the recalculated cost, which helps us gauge what we are doing in terms of business. So what are those associated to a key and your name? Basically, are our media by keys. Start date and end dates can be the site and campaign keys, and your cost type and budget are basically can be settled to the conversion tag keys. So because conversion tag keys will let us know what was my cost type at which the conversions did happen. Site and campaign keys will let me know what is the start date and end date at which site and which campaign got the hits. And O key and O name basically tells us the media by attributes or the dimensions or the entities and the entity names. Okay, so once you do that and once you feed both the planned and actual data into media cost center, your recalculated cost is ready and you can associate it with the media by plan, and you can know what is actually that has happened during the delivery, and you can compare it to your plan, and what you can have is the actual numbers in the business. Okay, so that's about media. Okay, this is the what happened. Okay, do you see my screen? No, yes, yes. Okay, so this is a solution documentation. So I had named it as Ohana Media, but then a solution documentation always. Users always use this solution documentation whenever you're onboarding any new client. Okay, so what happens in a solution documentation is, firstly, there are 3 phases in a project, right? Discovery of finding a solution and then delivering it. So this basically has your table of contents, which contain harmonization fields, specific requirements, the solution architecture, the general logic chart, process charts, additional whatever charts are there, and scaling and changes, introduction, adding a new harmonization field, updating logic, adding a new data stream from an existing data source, adding a new data source, all together fixing harmonization, visualizations, and then there is a note of the repeatable task. So whatever are your repeatable tasks, you can make a note of it. So the first thing that comes in is your business requirements. So the main goal of this implementation was to harmonize the data pulled from different sources. So once you have your different sources configured, now you know what are the harmonized dimensions that I need to create and show the data for. For example, suppose brand, product objective, channel, tactic, campaign, classifications, device or brand category. These can be some of the harmonization field, but this is client specific. So whenever you have a client that is asking for some, you can maintain this document for your client so that what happens is tomorrow, if you get any such case happens for you, you can go ahead and make a documentation for yourself. So specifications. You can write your specifications and you can write whatever specific things your client asks you to. What are the data sources and how do you configure it? So data sources may be through APIs or through Total Connects, and you can write whatever the data stream types are, maybe ads, web analytics or a generic. And if you have any note to make, you can make notes over here as well. So this is nothing but a process document, kind of a doc, whereby it is ready and you can go ahead and use it for your existing clients and you. This basically will help you to not only help you maintain and keep a tab on what is happening with your thing, but also no resources. No resources like this is not fair to say a permanent resource. But then people keep on changing in an organization. This document maintaining will also help the next person who takes up the work or you got promoted to a different role. This person can look into this document here and he or she knows what he or she needs to do from end to end. Okay, then comes the most difficult part, which we call it as solution architecture. Before I come to this diagram, let's see. So there are rules created in here. So which is not mandatory, but if you follow it, you will benefit out of it. So if it's a data fusion, what fields are being fused together and what is the result that you get? You get if it's a re-immersion structure. So over here, see here, examples are created that where all you can go ahead and put your. So you can utilize this diagram maybe and you can create your re-immersion stream. So these are your data streams. If you remember, we create calculated dimensions, we take them out, we feed them back, and this is my re-immersion data stream, which becomes a parent of these. Right? We have seen yesterday. So likewise, there are diagrams made for parent, child for custom classification for lookup, etc., which you can take into consideration and create your logic design. So let me zoom this. So if I zoom this, you see we have the data, we have campaigns, we have data classifications, re-immersions, data streams, and then we have re-immersion streams, and then we have calculated dimensions. We have parent-child structures. So the entire project structure in a nutshell. So this is called a solution diagram. Okay, so and always you see everywhere it's like how my project is end to end is shown in the form of a diagram. So this is a very important thing to do, and I believe so wherever, wherever there are workshops and stuff. We always tell that if you can draw your project in form of this diagram, never with your project will go wrong. There may be updates tomorrow. This lookup may be not there. That can be replaced with a data classification or something. But always go with this logic chart, which will help you succeed. Okay, then comes the scaling part, whereby you can document your existing new harmonization fields. You can update the logic of an harmonization field. Adding a new data stream, adding a new data source in visualizations. Is there a certain pattern for the final dimensions and measurements? Is there a specific rich text that the client needs to know about? Make sure you use the correct dimensions. Make sure you use the correct things. And then comes the repeatable task, meeting a naming convention. Make sure your data streams are running successfully. If data stream fails, check the reason for failure. Check all of your reports. Check all of your K pages and workflows and if they are running successfully or not. So this is a process document which will give you an end-to-end solution documentation which you can maintain per client, per advertiser, whatever you are working for, and you can basically get benefited out of it. Go to connect and mix and mix. Yeah, and on the right hand side there is a data right drop down. Yeah. What do you want over there? Yeah, click on that drop down or there is something access. That won't be possible in this account. I'm telling you because this is not a training account. This is a training account. Okay, and yeah. So there you have your workspace limits and admin user limits, power users limits and all these things. Oh, here the exchange rates right. On the left hand side, exchange rates right. So how do we use this one? In how it will help. Any ideas? This is basically the currency that is being used and the converted currency or any of the conversion. This is account level. This is not something related to your data at all. So I guess this is so if we add anything here, it will affect all the workspaces, or if can we filter it out for a particular workspace, kind of. Well, I'll be very honest with I have not used it. Yeah, I have not used it because at account level, this is I think at account settings level. I guess I've not used it yet. I can't tell exchange rates how it performs. Okay, and my last question is not be at workspace level. It will be an account level thing because it's account currency that you are trying to see as rates and conversions and actions. That you're okay. And my last question is, can you come to analyze and act? Yeah, Tableau data connection, it's here, right? So yeah, Tableau connection is there. That I in the stack that I'll be sending you will have an entire PDF which will talk about Tableau data connection and how you can do it. So that was not part of the session. So that is not being taken off because this will need a license and a Datorama license, and we have to create the entire thing. So media call center, application and Tableau connection. Application was not a part of this training because it needs separate licensing, and that's why. But definitely do not worry. I'll provide you with a reading stack in which will have the entire journey of how to connect Tableau. Okay? And finally, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel.